Hi everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Michael. My grandson's second birthday is coming up and I decided to build him a little model train for his birthday. So this video is about the design, building process, machining process of a little model train made mostly out of wood for a 2-year-old boy. I first walk you through the design process in a Fusion 360 model. Then we go a little bit into the machining and building of the train, and finally the finished train and the assembly of all parts. Okay, this is a Fusion 360 model of the entire train. The train has an engine and then 4 separate cars. Let's start with the engine. This is the platform or base for the train engine. It's made out of a 2x4 in CNC Mill. The platform has 3 holes on each side for the wheel axles, the big drivetrain wheel in the back and 2 small wheels in the front. The wheel assembly is always the same for all wheels. There's a washer inside and a small axle, and then it's a wheel, and the wheel has a little O-ring around it so that it is less noisy when you push it or pull it on an output floor. On top of the platform then goes the wheel housing for the big drivetrain wheel, the driver stand or the cockpit, and the roof. And in the front is the boiler with a large end plate, and for cosmetic reasons a smaller end plate, and the little knob in the front. Then there's of course a chimney, a little bell housing, and then on each side there's a little nameplate with my grandson's name. The train is called Aiden Express. And there are the other wheels. Here we go. And at last there is the pin for the trailer hitch, to which the next car then is attached. This is the base or platform for all the cars. It's made again out of a 2x4 in CNC Mill. The design of the platform is exactly the same for all cars, and the individual cars, then the top of the cars, they just go on top of here. There are 2 dowel pins to secure the position, and in the middle is a little magnet which holds it in place. Each car has 2 small wheels on each side. The wheel assembly is exactly the same as I showed you earlier with the engine. And this one here is the trailer hitch in the front and the back, and it just hooks up to the engine in this case. And now we get to the individual cars. The first car is an open box car. The box again is made out of a 2x4 and CNC milled out, and it goes on top of the platform, here held in place by 2 dowel pins and a magnet. And it contains 9 squares, and these squares have 2 features. On one side, for the little man to learn colors, there's color and the word of the color, and on the back side they have letters. Let me take this away. On the back side here they have letters, 8 different ones, and he can create all first names of his mom, his dad, and himself out of these 8 letters. That's how it looks completely assembled. Here we go. And that's the open box car. The next car is a log carrier. Carries several logs with different diameters. And again, the log carrier itself just pops onto the platform with these held in place with these 2 dowel pins and the magnet. The next car is a disc or wheel carrier. Again, the top portion here, this white board, the disc holder held in place with two dowel pins and the magnet to the basic platform. This portion is made out of black PVC. I put this PVC pipe on my lathe, cut out these grooves to hold the endlets, and then created these grooves for color separation, just for aesthetic reasons. When done, I cut this pipe in half, and then on the mill I created this surface and the bottom flat to hold it in place on this wooden board. The endlets are glued in, and it holds 9 discs, and each disc has a number, starting with the number 1 here, and on the back the number as a word, and then we have the numbers 1 to 9, and that might help the little man to learn the numbers. And finally, the last car is a vehicle or car carrier. Again, same thing, the top portion is held in place by 2 dowel pins and the magnet to the platform. And on top of it is a model of a DB5 Aston Martin, and here 4 grooves to hold the car in place, that it's not moving around when the train is pushed or pulled. Okay, back to the complete train. All the parts you see on the screen were milled on my Tormach CNC Mill. Each part required 4 different setups for the bottom, the top, the left and the right side. The bottom of all the cars, the platforms, is the same. So for the bottom of all these platforms, only 1 setup was required, and all the carriers or the platforms for the cars are identical. So only 4 setups for all 4 cars, again for the top, bottom, the left and right side. To give you an idea of the CNC milling process, I'll show you as an example the milling of the bottom portion of one of the car platforms in a short video clip later. Okay, these are the parts which were machined on my lathe: the wheels, the axles, the pins for the trailer hitches, also these grooves and cutouts to hold the end plates for the disc carrier and the boiler, then the chimney and the bell housing and the front piece, and these features to hold the nameplates and the chimney and the bell housing, and the flat bottoms for the disc carrier and the boiler were machined on my manual mill. And finally, the parts which were done on my laser cutter: the end plates for the boiler, the name plates, including the engraving of the name, and then the end plates for the disc or wheel carrier, and the engraving for the squares and for the discs. Next up is the carriage for the cars. The design for the carriage is the same for all cars. It's made out of a 2x4 block, has 2 axle holes on each side for 2 wheels, trailer hitch in the front and the bottom. The hole here in the trailer hitch in the front is a little bit bigger because here the trailer hitch pin slides in. On the back then, for the next car, it's a press fit, so this hole is a little bit bigger than that one. On top of here are the attachments points for whatever is on top of here. It might be a box car or a vehicle transport car, so that just pops on here. So the carriage is the same for all cars, and the top part attaches with 2 dowel pins here and is held in place with a little magnet. And then the underside of whatever goes on top here also has a little magnet, and it holds it in place. That way the little man can, it's like a 3D puzzle, he can play around with it and take it off and put it back on and so forth. The trailer hitch here in the back and the front is a little bit different in the height of the attachment point. You see there's a little gap to make it easier to turn. These surfaces will be painted later, and paint on paint is a little bit sticky probably, so I thought I'd give it a little bit a difference here in height. There's a 2/100 of an inch gap here. That should make it easier to turn, and also if he plays with it hopefully a lot, the paint might wear off otherwise. Okay, here are all the finished and painted parts. Starting with the train engine. That's the engine's base or platform with 3 mounting holes for 2 small wheels in the front and 1 big drive wheel in the back. On top of the platform goes the wheel housing for the drive wheel. On top of that, the driver's stand or the cockpit. And on top of the cockpit then a little roof. In front of the driver's stand is the boiler, which mounts on like that. The boiler has 2 cutouts, 1 on each side, for a little name plaque which pops in here. On top is an opening for the chimney and for a little bell housing which pops in here. And the front, and on my lathe I put in a little groove here for the finishing plate or the closing plate in the front, which then for aesthetic reasons is another little piece and is closed off with this little piece here. The boiler is screwed onto the base or the platform through these 2 openings for the chimney and the bell housing. So I need to screw that on before I place the bell housing and the chimney on. Then we have 4 individual or different cars. The first one is an open box car, very simple. It's milled out of, CNC milled out of a piece of 2x4. And again, on the underside you have the openings for the dowel pins and for the magnet, and then you can just pop that in here and can be exchanged with any other platform. The second one is a little log carrier which holds these logs here. They're different diameters. You can pop in here like that. The third one is a wheel or drum carrier. I made this out of a PVC pipe, put it on my lathe, put these grooves in here for the end caps, which go in here. They are laser cut on my laser cutter out of acrylic. They're glued in here, the front, and then the back. And I put on these grooves here just for aesthetic reasons to break it up a little bit. And this piece then holds wheels or drums like that. And that goes just on a plain platform, is bolted down here like that. And the last car is a little vehicle carrier. Again, just pops onto the platform, and that holds my all-time favorite car, an Aston Martin DB5. Then we have the pins for the timing hitches. These are the wheels. We have the small wheels. I put on a little groove here on my lathe to hold an O-ring that makes it less noisy. They have hardwood floors at home, so then it runs on rubber and not wood on wood. And so with the O-ring, then the wheel, here's the little axle, and the back side I put a little washer so that the wheel does not rub against this wooden surface, it doesn't run very smoothly. So this little washer keeps some distance and makes it run more smoothly then. And the same is true, the same concept is true for the big drive wheels of the engine. They get a bigger O-ring, so they run more smoothly. And then they use the same axle, and they are mounted then to the engine base. Okay, and here's the finished train. First is the engine. Then the open boxcar. As said earlier, the top portion can always be removed from the platform. And the boxcar carries 9 squares. On one side are just colors for the little man to learn colors. And on the opposite side are letters which allow him to spell out his first name and the first name of his mother and his dad. He only needs 8 letters for that, and there's a little template for that. Then we have the log carrier with logs of different sizes. Then the wheel or drum carrier. And these drums, they have also, for educational reasons, on one side numbers, so that the little man can learn counting from 1 to 9. And you flip them over, it's the numbers in word. Again, in words from 1 to 9. And finally, the car carrier with an Aston Martin DB5 on top of it. The platform has 4 little notches that the car is not moving around when it's pushed or pulled. All right, that is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to seeing you very soon.